Here's some more examples of compound inequalities. So write and graph a compound equality for all real numbers that are in between -2 and 4. If you're in between, it does not include the endpoints. So if you're in between Grand Rapids and Detroit, you're not in Grand Rapids or Detroit, you're in between them. So between, you're going to use -2 is less than x is less than 4. So you want to have an open dot at -2 and an open dot at 4, and you're going to shade in between. Letter B. Today's temperatures will be above 32, but not as high as 40. So this means if it's above 32, it doesn't include 32, and if it's not as high as 40, it doesn't include 40. So it's 32 is less than x is less than 40. And you want to do open circles at 32 and 40 and shade in between. If you have an or situation, you're really reading for the words or. Two different situations exist. All real numbers that are less than -3 or greater than 7. So less than -3 is x is less than -3 or greater than 7. X is greater than 7. When you graph an or situation, they do look like an or when you're rowing. So an open dot at -3, open dot at 7. Letter B, you can receive a discounted ski pass at Boyne Mountain if you are under 10 years old and at least 60. Under 10 means not including 10. So it's x is less than 10 or at least 60. X is greater than or equal to 60. So I do open dots at 10, shade to the left, and a closed dot at 60, shade to the right. And more word examples. A box of cereal must weigh more than 629.4 grams and less than 630.6 grams to pass inspection. The box in which the cereal is packed weighs 5.5 grams. What are the possible weights for the cereal? So the box includes the weight of the package. The box of cereal includes the weight of the package. So if I'm looking at possible weights for cereal, that's going to be my x. So I'm going to take 629.4 and subtract 5.5. And I get 623.9. So that is the least amount of cereal that you can have. So it weighs more than, so it actually has to be less than x and less than 630.6. But I have to subtract 630.6 minus 5.5 to get the actual weight of the cereal. So this is 625.1 grams. Okay, number 2, Susie has designed an exercise program for herself. She needs to walk between 25 and 30 miles each week. So we know we're going to have a between situation of 25 and 30 miles. In between means not including. She plans to walk the same distance each day, 5 days a week. What is the range of miles she should walk each day? Miles she should walk each day is m. So if she's walking 5 days a week, 5 times the number of miles that she walks is what she's going to walk in any given week. So the expression on the inside is 5m. So to solve for m, what I'm going to do is divide each part by 5. So I have 5 is less than m is less than 6 miles a day. So she should walk between 5 and 6 miles a day. Okay, number 3, your test grades in science so far are 83 and 87. What possible grades can you make on your next test to have an average between 85 and 90 inclusive. Inclusive means that you need to include the endpoints. So you want to have an average between and including 85 and 90. So if your first two scores are 83 and 87, what does your third score have to be? So we're going to add up. To find the average, we add up the numbers. So 83 plus 87 plus x all over 3 is going to be my middle expression. This is how you find the average. You add up numbers and divide by the number of data. So now to solve, I'm dividing by 3, so I'm going to multiply both parts, so all 3 parts. So this is going to be by 3. This part's going to be multiplied by 3. This part's going to be multiplied by 3. So I do 85 times 3, which is 255, is less than or equal to, this part's 270, and now I'm going to add up 83 plus 87. And I get 170 plus x. See, these two 3's canceled out. So then I'm going to subtract 170 from all 3 parts. And I get 255 minus 170. So that's 85 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 100. So if you score in between and including 85 to 100, you'll have an average between 85 and 90. Okay, number 4. Find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is between 48 and 60. So I'm going to put 48 and 60. 3 consecutive even integers. So remember we wrote the sum was your first integer is x. Your next integer is 2 more than that to skip. So it's going to be x plus 2 plus x plus 4. So this represents the first integer, the second integer, the third integer. And they're even because I'm going up by 2. So now I'm going to simplify the expression on the inside and combine like terms. So this is going to be 48 is less than 3x plus 6 is less than 60. So I'm going to subtract 6 from all 3 parts. So I'm going to have 42 is less than 3x is less than 54. And then divide all 3 parts by 3. So I'm going to have 14 is less than x is less than 54 divided by 3 is 18. Okay, solve and graph your solution. So to solve this, I'm going to add 1 to all 3 parts. So it's going to be negative 2 is less than 2x is less than or equal to 8. Then I'm going to divide all 3 parts by 2. So I don't need to switch the direction or the sense of the inequality because I'm dividing by a positive. So it's negative 1 is less than x is less than or equal to 4. So at negative 1 I do an open dot, and at 4 I do a closed dot, and I shade in between. Okay, number 2. Solve for x in this one, so I'm going to subtract 3. So 4v is less than negative 8. I'm dividing by a positive, so I don't switch this direction of the inequality. And then I'm also going to solve this inequality over here. But in this case right here, I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 2. Now remember when you divide by a negative, you're going to change the sense of the inequality. So it becomes v is greater than or equal to positive 3. So my graph is v is less than negative 2. So it's an open dot at negative 2 shaded to the left. Or V is greater than or equal to 3 shaded to the right. Okay, now from a graph, we're going to write inequality notation and interval notation. So this looks like an OR. Okay, if you think about a rowboat, it actually looks like an OR, so it's going to be an OR because it looks like an OAR. So the inequality is x is less than 8, because it's an open dot at 8 shaded to the left, or x is greater than or equal to 10. Now, interval notation, you're reading left from right. So from the left, all of these numbers are included. So it's starting at negative infinity, and it goes until 8. And it doesn't include 8, so use a parentheses. And this is in union with, that's what the U means. So it also include starting at 10, so you need to put a bracket on 10 because it includes. And it keeps going on forever, so it's going to infinity. And you put a parentheses. Always put parentheses with infinity. Okay, number 2, it's an in-between. You're shading in between and including the endpoints. So it's negative 2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 5. Interval notation would be start at 2 with a bracket and go to 5. Number 3, it's shading in between, so you're going to put x in between 1 and 5. 1 has a closed dot, 5 has an open dot. Oops. And then my interval notation is there's nothing over here. It starts at 1 and it ends at 5. So 1 has a bracket because it includes it as a closed dot. 5 is an open dot. And then number 4 is an OR. So it's x is less than or equal to 5, or x is greater than or equal to negative 2. In my interval notation is it starts on the left and stops at negative 5. So it goes negative infinity to negative 5, including negative 5, in union with bracket, because it includes negative 2, and it keeps going infinitely.